You know what? I feel like now is a good time to let everybody know Helldivers 2 is coming to Xbox. We can open with the bad Microsoft news. I do feel like that is expected of me, at least. To catch you up, the increasingly dangerous and belligerent megacorporation Microsoft announced this week that it would be cutting around 9,000 jobs all at once so the stock can go up. And of course, relevant to this video, many of those jobs were indeed from the gaming division. Top of that, there was an unannounced MMO from ZeniMax Online that was outright canceled. Everwild, outright canceled. And Perfect Dark also canceled. And its studio shuttered as well. To me, this is not a significant change of plans or shift of course for Microsoft. It's kind of just representative of an overall trend and scraping out as many human beings as you can for the sake of perceived efficiency. Just kind of trying to figure out what is the least we can provide with the least amount of people. And I don't feel like that's healthy, quite frankly. So I feel like from an empathetic perspective, there's really no possible positive spin on this. Try as they might. So let's talk about this stupid thing. And by the way, if you're thinking about fast forwarding right now to see if that was all I had to say about Xbox, it is. The rest of this video is pretty much all Bandai Namco stuff. I did my due diligence with the Microsoft news. Now it's Goofy time. Now, I actually wasn't familiar with this particular program. I thought it was the first time they had ever tried this. However, in the opening of this show, they say this.
Some of you out there may be familiar with the Summer Showcase, now in its third year.
And obviously, you know me, I love Goofy time. I was thinking, how did I miss 2 years of this? Well, I think it's because the Summer Showcase 2023 looked like this. And then the Summer Showcase of 2024 looked like this.
Is this not like the coolest duo? I'm just what? Is this happening? Can we get a photo?
So comparatively, here in 2025, this is super high effort. Though, to be clear to you, I'm not suggesting you go watch this now. The Bandai Namco Summer Showcase was a slog. Frankly, not worth your time as an adult. But I do feel like there were some fun parts of it that may go tragically undiscussed. Like a tree falling over in a forest where only like a few very particular weirdos heard it. So, here are my top 5 fun things that happened during the Bandai Namco Summer Showcase. Number 1, Studio Odyssey. Okay, so actually before anyone spoke, the show began with this graphic. Okay, and then this was the first thing that was uttered.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bandai Namco Summer Showcase live from Studio Odyssey.
And again, I think, should I know Studio Odyssey? Is that a thing people know about? Minor fun update here. I don't know how I missed this. They used Studio Odyssey for a Shadow of the Erdtree launch stream last year. And you know what this also means? I was right about that screen in the back. Look close. I think it's an actual screen.
Let's get into it.
Are you ready? Here we go.
Oh, we've a big
It can't be.
screen.
Look at their feet. Anyway, Bandai Namco Entertainment America actually seems pretty proud of Studio Odyssey. I frankly think this was just some producer's creative vision. At some point, someone said, this year, we're going to be in a fictional city that crosses Tokyo with LA. And that's not just my interpretation, by the way. That's what's in the script.
We have been transported into this amazing Tokyo meets LA inspired city.
It's fun, all right? It's not cool. I recognize that. It's not impressive. It's not close to necessary, but it's fun. I like Studio Odyssey. I like the idea that this whole thing was put together by a dreamer, somebody who was given a very simple task, and they decided to do way more than was necessary. Fun thing number 2, actually live? A confusing thing happens as one watches this very clearly pre-recorded show. One starts to believe that it may actually be happening live. Because, I mean, we've seen this before. Konami was in the Foggy Streets. Last week, Capcom was in the Monster Hunter Hub. And in both of those cases, nobody was under the misconception that any of this high-tech imagery was live. Why should it be? There's no live studio audience. But early on, host Connor states,
I think we're ready to reveal our first worldwide reveal.
stop there. All he said was, I think we're ready to reveal our first worldwide reveal. Which is clunky, yeah, but not something that's incorrect, right? But then something very strange happens. He apologizes.
Sorry about that. I'm so excited. I can't help myself.
I'm ready.
I'm definitely not saying that alone was weird. Give me a second, right? I would have forgotten about that otherwise. But then, as the show progressed, there would be these unusual hiccups you're not used to seeing in a program like this.
Welcome.
Feels so awkward.
A brand new IP developed.
You can see we have a number of different modes that's gonna pop up on this screen over here.
I love this.
アニメを熱心にご覧込んでおりますので、ぜひ
And Steam. So it's time to become golfers, gamers.
There's really only two options here. Either this was indeed live, or pre-recorded by a very unforgiving director with a tight timeline. Someone who said, no, you get one take. I told you get one take. It's good enough. We're moving on. Either way, it's a strength. Just makes the show better. The very idea that they would put so much extra pressure on the production crew and the entire live talent for no apparent upside other than the raw danger of potentially somebody stumbling over a sentence just makes the show more exciting.
All right.
Number 3, focus on the Fishman. There's a trailer for Towa and the Guardians of the Sacred Tree at Summer Game Fest. Essentially a Japanese Hades. Instantly in, of course. But then when they showed the whole roster of the characters at the end of that trailer, I'm looking at a bunch of regular anime characters and 1 star. Okay, 2 stars. So I like that when they're trying to show a little more gameplay in this showcase, they focused on 2 particular characters, and of course, the Fishman was one of those 2. And on top of that, we learned that he was the most popular character amongst the team members. I don't know, there's just something kind of refreshing about developers being like self-aware and acknowledging that one of their designs is just clearly better than the others. Yeah, obviously we got a lot of anime boys and girls in here. We have to have those, but we know the Fishman is nice. Number 4, quite obviously, Digimon. The Bandai Namco Summer Showcase had painfully little to show or say that is new about Digimon's story Time Stranger, but did have some new shots here and there. Seems like a nice city to explore. Remember that ladder, please, because this of course reminded me of a major gripe I had with Pokemon Legends ZA. In its debut, they were bragging about how you could travel up to rooftops. That's a whole new mechanic, but the way to get up there was this. Just teleport up. So yeah, I was going to make fun again about how that game won't even give you the simple video game satisfaction of climbing a ladder, but I wanted to be fair. I reviewed the footage from the April Nintendo Direct, and looky there, ladder. So there you have it. There is at least ladder parity between these 2 games. Which ladder looks nicer? I don't care. I'm not here to draw comparisons between ladders. That would be cheap. I'm above that. And finally, number 5. The Blood of Dawnwalker's New Groove. If that name doesn't ring a bell, same. The Blood of Dawnwalker is The Witcher 3 but with vampires, incidentally directed by the director of Witcher 3. In the intro, they specifically called it an open-world dark fantasy AAA RPG, which was frankly very thoughtful of them because otherwise, just looking at this game, you'd have no idea it's AAA. This game's had trailers out for a while. Previously, they made me feel nothing. Perhaps notable only for giving the player the ability to walk up walls like Adam West Batman. That's cool. So then, in the showcase, the Bandai Namco Summer Showcase, they decided to show that 3-week-old trailer once again. But then, after that, little snippets of someone actually playing the game. Suddenly, it could be itself. Check this out. We get to look at these environments for longer than a half second. Actually kind of nice. This game's got player choice even? Who knew? Let me ask you this. How much blood would you suck from a human? Would you have the restraint to stop at sleep? Or keep slurping till they die? So yeah, just show that stuff. It's insane the slurp meter hasn't been in a single trailer yet. Funny enough, they did release a gameplay overview late last month that did get a lot of views, And certainly way, way more than that wall-walking story trailer. So I just hope going forward they take that to heart. You wouldn't be able to visually identify this stuff as AAA, but you also wouldn't know it's an RPG unless somebody told you. The Blood of Dawnwalker simply doesn't compete as a modern action game. Neither does Witcher 3. Its strengths are its RPG elements. Focus on those, highlight those, and obviously, lots more walking up walls. And that, dear viewer, is why Bandai Namco is more fun than Xbox. And that's Delayed Input. I'll be back next week. Until then, thanks for watching. As I was trying to make sure Pokemon Legends ZA doesn't have ladders, and I did indeed prove myself wrong, I did stumble upon the Pokemon Legends ZA pre-order trailer. Not too long ago, I was talking about how a pre-order trailer is typically a big deal for a game. It's the moment they're trying to finally sell this game to you. Death Stranding 2 had a trailer titled Pre-Order Trailer. Typically, it's a big deal to be a pre-order trailer. So now, watch the pre-order trailer for Pokemon Legends ZA. The Pokemon franchise remains one of the most valuable on this planet. And I just can't understand why they insist on being that cheap. I don't even think that's their music. I feel like that's just something they found on some non-aggressive rock catalog. Listen to it again. At this point, I think it's intentional. It's not like they're stupid. It's not like they don't have taste and they don't know what a pre-order trailer should look like. It's not about saving money. It's about flaunting their power. They're saying to other game publishers, look how little we have to do to sell our game. Don't you wish you could? You can't. You're not Pokemon. I'm telling you that pre-order trailer is disrespectful. It's like an Instagram model wearing a Borat costume to her best friend's wedding. It's not right.